if everything goes great here, I'll give you my name. And if it goes to hell today,
that's okay. I'm really used to that.
Yeah. Andy and I are usually the ones that get taken to the woodshed here, so we try and keep things moving. In addition to that, and I think he's in the office, so he'll meet you in there, is our director of railcar maintenance and one of his assistant managers, Chuck Lausch and Justin Selapak. They will be giving you the walking tour of the maintenance buildings, while Andy and others and I will be showing you rail traffic, bus traffic, and the electrical substation here. We're going to split you up into smaller groups because with some of the things we got going on here right now, rail traffic is like walking into an old-style Bell telephone phone booth right now. So 61 people ain't going to cut it. So we'll be breaking it down into groups. But to continue with the introductions, Brett, and your last name, man, because I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
Freitaler.
There you go, Freitaler. Brett is an experienced rail operator here at PRT. He has presently gone back to the other side, to bosses over our Collier division. So he's pretty much qualified on every piece of equipment we've got on the system. Our TIC, 35-footer, 40-footer, single cars, two-car trains, you name it. So very capable individual. He'll be assisting with the tour today. Gentleman by the name of Jason, who is with our Rail Traffic Operations Center, part of our Road Operations Group, which is one of our 3 response units, my department and the police being the other 2. He's known as a movement director. He sits along with his colleagues in one of our theater-style areas where they look at the entire grid system of the light rail system and the overhead, right, the electrical, to keep this system moving in good times and in bad. The one that makes sure on the overhead end and the signal system is our LRT system supervisor and long-term member of the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum, Jeffrey King. Jeffrey's back there. We're in the, you got Arden on that thing? Or Pennsylvania?
No, I just went to Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay. Well, maybe he had the Arden Trolley Museum badge on there. So, and me, I'm just Chuck. So,
Hi, Chuck.
Pleasure to meet you all. Now, the plan is at this point, we're going to break you up. We're going to go in there first. We'll have the walking tours done for about the next hour, hour and a half. We have a major construction project, one of about 7 that's underway right now. We're replacing the Martinville grade crossing, and it's one of the lengthier, I think it's the lengthiest single track that we have, and it involves all 3 routes and basically all 3 lines: the Mount Lebanon Beachview line, the Library line, and the Overbrook line. So it stinks. Is what I could, basically the way I could put it. So it consumes a lot of time to get through it. We're going to try and do the best we can. We've oriented the trip to minimize our number of trips through it, but it's going to take time. Additionally, facilities elsewhere are at minimal levels. We've got an occasional porta-john at Penn stations and 1 or 2 other locations, and that's it. So if you got to go here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In the motor coach business, in which I was in before I came here 32 years ago, they used to call it because you had like 2.5, 3 hours before you got to a rest stop. You condition yourself to the situation at hand. So I'm recommending you condition yourself. We're not making any stops along forests to use the trees. And as far as the route itself, our plan is to cover all the lines in both directions, and including rear mileage, our Penn station, which actually is not so rare anymore because we just used it for 56 days for a major downtown construction project, but right now it's not presently in service. Our Allegheny Station tail track, which will be the first thing we'll do to get out of the way of the Pirates traffic and then get back out here in the system. And then hopefully the Allentown line and the Drake, and what we can do on the energized portion of the Drake line. Okay? Photo stops, I've tried to plug them in as best I can. There are certain areas where you think we might do it that we're not. The community of Beachview, the city of Pittsburgh, has that torn up. They're putting in a whole bunch of mountable islands and new pads and basically wrecking the bucolic look of the street. So we're just going to roll through there in both directions. We're not doing any photo stop there. I've got some ideas as to where we can stop appropriately as long as we're behind service and I'm not coming up the works. If for some reason that has to change when we're talking to the operator, I'm just going to say we're going. And you've got to understand, we've got a lot of challenges on this system today. We're going to try and do the best we can, but at some point, if I got to cut, I got to cut. And the final thing is, and this goes back to the PCC days, because I was the one that, put together one of the ones that put together the 3 PCC charter on Labor Day in 1999, because I was told back then, because I was where Jason is today, but in the bus end, to put that trip together from a schedule-wise, and the director out here said to me that if you muck up the schedule and you delay any of my cars, you're fired.
Wow.
Okay? Needless to say, I didn't do that. And needless to say, we're not going to do that today either. Okay, so let's head that way and let's go find Chuck. And,
A 10-minute tour, or it depends. I can run it to mouth all day. So a few safety items. Our safety officer is Corey. He's all the way in the back behind there. He's going to help, so because we're experienced in this. We know you guys are all rail guys and girls and ladies and like to wander off. So we will try to herd you back together. We understand there's a lot to look at, and that's okay. Please keep in mind, so a few items. Our pits that we work out of, a lot of our pits do not have fall protection. If you fall into a pit, it hurts. I've had guys do it, and they were out of work for a very long time. So please mind the yellow lines at the pits. Also, as most of you know, our overhead runs a nominal 650, right? We normally run about 720. We do have access to 720 volts, 480, 220, everything at ground level. If it looks electrical, please don't touch it. So we like to get through these tours with no injuries. Because I don't like doing paperwork, right? I'm a mechanical type of guy. So these injuries create a lot of paperwork for me. We will try to talk loud. Myself, Justin, Corey, everybody is available. We can all answer questions. Myself and Justin have been here roughly on about 11 years. So I'm Director of Railcar Maintenance. Justin is Assistant Manager of heavy repair, which is the first department we're going to go to. That's basically our vehicle overhaul. Typically, I go through and explain the fleet, but I believe most of you are familiar with our fleet. Our legacy fleet, which is standard for, wow, we're really old. And that's okay, but we're getting through there. So if you guys would like to follow me, we'll get you into the tour. Did he? 45? Okay. So we are fortunate today that we won't have a lot of distracting noises. because basically on a Sunday I run a pretty much a skeleton staff. We only run, what do we run, 13 cars? 13 cars on a Saturday and a Sunday. Unless we have a special event like a Pirates game, then we just trade them up. So I'm only running 26 cars. I don't need a lot of staff here. So we always are open 24/7, 365, as always, to take care of the fine taxpayers of Allegheny County. And I'll turn that over to Jessica.
This is our vehicle overall. We call it truck floor. Behind you, we have a truck removed right now for some repairs. That is the drop table. We'll pull those in. Those stabilizers more or less just hold the car's weight. They disconnect the truck. The truck will go about 20 feet down into the basement. They come over right here in the middle and raise up. They'll use the overhead crane to take them over to my left here to the truck stands where they'll tear them down. Once they tear them down from there, they'll bring them over to the guys at the axle press. They'll start pressing the old tires out, do a rear gearbox repair, replace a rotor, whatever it may be. In the meantime, they're doing the hoses, the pads, any kind of electrical work they need to do until the gentlemen have the wheels set together. Put them back in, back over to the car. So that is convenient because we only need to take one truck out at a time. We can use that. Behind you, the one with the wrap car, the blue circle is the PRT. Our condemning is 660. We don't like to run them any less than 680 to give the head start to get the place so they're not all above the windshield there, and the new model has it behind you embedded into the thing. Other than that, they will rehab 4200s will rehab to look exactly like that. So those are the rehab cars, and the 43s will be new. So the 4200s on the legacy. The 4200s used to be Siemens, those are hold like that. Okay.
So now we are down underneath, and this is your N-track contour machine where they contour the wheels at.
Lay them down, pull the truck down, and then we can cut.
I say, why do you cut the wheels?
Yes.
We profile them.
Yes.
If there's a flat spot or a rail groove in the flange or anything, they reprofile the wheels so they wide smoother.
Yep. And we try to do them every 60,000 miles.
Oh, okay.
Regardless of whether
okay.
there's an issue or not.
Right.
We're working toward that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a difficult lift.
Yeah, it is. It is. Really cool. Air tank. That's your... I want to say that's your trainer. Your auxiliary. No, yeah, they're your brake cylinder air pressures. There's one on each side, and then that's your main air reservoir right there. And you can see this is the unpowered set with your brake disc, traction brake segmented. So this is what picks up the cab control, the CVCs. I'm not sure what system they use here. I'm actually surprised they only have one brake disc on each axle. I mean, they're low-speed cars, so that's your battery circuit box. Those are 3-phase, and then this is low well, not low voltage, but low voltage. This is your air hosing going into there, and you can see all that goes up into the air into the brake sidewall, and when it comes back here, it goes over to here. Pretty standard stuff, actually. It's not. Most of the stuff is all the same, like theory or design behind it. It's just how they do it might be differently.
I'll be honest with you, I think they built it, there it is. Okay, that looks great. But it does, we hand paint. There are lifts in there for our body people to be lifted up to paint the LRV. Also, it gets up to 180 degrees to make paint, which we never had the luxury of having before. We originally started to look at a downdraft booth, but due to constraints in the basement and stuff like that, we weren't able to. So it is a regular draft paint booth, but with a lot more luxuries. Like I said, we mentioned that we are, we are trying to go a little bit greener with the automatic lights and stuff like that. And I was mentioning to somebody, PRT is trying to go zero emissions by 2035, which I also said to some people, I tell my boss, we're already zero emissions. We're over at Teamers here at the rail center. And he's like, well, yeah, stop making fun of the bus people. I'm like, wow, that's right.
Some of the constraints, like Chuck was mentioning, 3/4 of this building is a warehouse. We store all our parts in our building, so 3/4 of this. So with the downdraft, they would have to jackhammer into the concrete, and it was just too close to the opening for the roof in the basement. There was no way that we could, it just wasn't feasible.
Yeah, downstairs, and I don't believe we're going to go down there today because it's a lot colder up here, right? I mean, there's better stuff to see up here. But we do stock 15 million in components. So as I talked about, we moved toward going to the new car procurement. One of our biggest challenges is what do we keep in stock as we move toward a new car procurement and to keep the current fleet running until we receive 50 cars. Because when we're looking at 2 to 3 cars a month, 50 cars doesn't come quick. It takes a lot of time. These do take a good bit of maintenance, being 4,200 fleet is 39 years old. 4,300 fleet is approaching 20. So that's one of our challenges. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we'll loop out onto the apron. We'll walk up the apron and we'll sort of close up in our service area, our wash area, our wheel profile machine, and then we'll get you guys an RTO, BTO, RTO, and I believe we have another group coming eventually.
There's going to be a swap, yeah.
At 9:55, so we're 5 minutes. It's been a pleasure having everybody.
Thank you.
So we're mileage based. So we're
Okay,
every
you're mileage
5,000 miles we're touching a car.
Okay.
So we also do twice a year because Pennsylvania has a state inspection program,
Okay.
which also includes LRVs, electric mass transit vehicles. So our maintenance is aggressive,
Okay.
which is difficult to manage. But at the same point, I'm also running a 40-year-old car, so it made it to almost 40 years old. It must be effective.
Might not be an issue later down the road.
Our industry is always so reactive, and we always try to be predictive. So
Yeah.
now the new cars are, the technology, it scares me. I'm not going to lie, because it self-reports and will identify a problem. Say we got a hot bearing coming. Nobody will know. until the hot bearings go bad, currently.
Yeah.
But now it's going to say, hey, I got, axle 5, wheel, 10. I got a bearing that's running hot. And it's like, okay, so then we're going to do a predictive. All right, change out the bearing before we have a failure out on the system.
Yeah. So it really does save you.
Yes.
in the long run.
I can have a difference of 1 millimeter from side to side. That's it. My flange angle is 0.5 of a degree or something. Bless him. So our tolerances. So we design a specification. As we all know, right? We report everything to the FDA, the all-knowing, all-seeing FDA. But so we do have a wheel profile measurement machine that is coming in, and we are trying to commission. So what we're doing is we're working with the company to get to come within our tolerances. Because once I accept this machine, every vehicle that runs over that wheel profile machine will measure the wheels. We've never had the capability to have quite so much tracking of our wheels. Everything from back to back, flange angle, wheel thickness, everything. It's actually, quite honestly, if you think about the concept, it's a brilliant idea. We're just trying to cross the finish line because currently, if something shows up bad and it sends me an alert, it'll send me either a text message or, right, we don't all get enough emails. It'll send me an email. We have to respond to it. Like I said, we're working toward the commissioning. We've come a long way with the company we're working with. We are almost here and trying to cross the finish line. Once we do, we're very excited about having this. I think Justin and I put this in motion.
3, 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think we started this concept like 5 years ago. But in a maintenance perspective, it's a huge, not only a time saver, but a safety net that you're checking what you're using. So, and that's what we try to do. So
We have handheld tools that they have to use on preventive maintenances to record the wheel diameters and everything. But just like anything, that can be human error. You could get a reading, I could get a reading, and you could get a reading. It could be very close, but it's not all the same. So then you'd have to take it on the actual wheel truer machine that is calibrated and takes it the same measurement every time. We want that to be done daily.